Hi, welcome to Texas Lone Wolf MGHOUT, your source for Red Pill Truth. We are going to talk about DNA test. That's right, DNA test. So, oftentimes we rely on people's word. They say that your word is your bond. But here lately, since the arrival of feminism and sexual liberation of the 1960s, and then all the way up to right now, um, a lot of people are going out and hooking up with which we call the hookup culture. Um, so, what does that mean, the hookup culture? What does it mean? All right. Well, I'll tell you what the hookup culture is. It's where two people who don't know each other thoroughly, they hook up and they go have sex and they finish and move on to the next one. All out of just having fun, playing, having fun. All right, so to speak, it was just having fun. But when the clock get ready to strike midnight, so to speak, what happens is, okay, now what happens, this is what usually happens, okay? Are you ready? So what usually happens is, when everybody's done playing and, with this sexual liberation for feminism, they believe that women can be just like men. They can just bang who they want. They can go out and sleep with who they want, have no consequences, no repercussion. But here is the sad part, okay? Here's the sad part about this, okay? You ready? Now, the sad part is we live in a hookup culture era. And when women get pregnant, they have babies. In the term of the hookup culture, we call them content babies, okay? The content babies. Then they don't even know who their real father is. And that right there is very disturbing. So here we are in the era. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read you some stories from another social media site called Quora. That's right, Quora. So, anyways, I'm going to leave this picture up here. And, anyways, there are several comments, anyways. It's very disturbing to say that we live in this era. Nobody knows what, I mean, it's painful. So what happens is, anyways, I just want you to, yeah, I'm over here typing some information into a search engine. So, anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and share. I'm gonna share a story, and anyways, so we're going to go ahead and I'm gonna remove the picture, and we're gonna go ahead and dive in, shall we? Now, Um, so, T. Flem said, why do people need to get a paternity test done to prove they're the biological father? Because, you know, like I said, we live in the hookup culture era, all right? And all the regrets come when you least expect it, okay? So why do people need to get a paternity test done? To prove if they are the biological father. Because actually, number one, they don't believe they are the father due to possible belief that the woman cheating. As I said, we live in a hookup culture. All right. So, um, I just want to go ahead and cover this topic, and they've got a lot of upvotes on this. So, anyways, um, so Zoe Bremer from I could use the sample cells taken from another mother, father, and a child. If one parent is missing, a close relative can be used. Wow. A typical of a bloodline is chosen and compared. You can do this with any species of animal that procreates. All right. So this is a English from UK. So there is more than one potential father. All of them give samples by one who cannot be the father or eliminate. I've seen how many alleles match. Only snag is a father has identical twin, which alibi can be required. So, anyways, it is. So, I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Now, this here is actually on point right here. How can some men stop being a father to a child after paternity test comes back negative? If you take care of a child for a month and you'll feel like father regardless of DNA. I have been on the receiving end of this as a child growing up into a normal grown adult. All right. Now, talking to the female, imagine you became pregnant. You're carrying a baby. At first, you aren't sure how you feel, but eventually you get emotionally attached to the idea of being a mommy. You find you actually, so, all right. So, we're going to go ahead and read this together, shall we? Actually, I'm going to back this up a little bit. So, okay. Imagine you become pregnant, you're carrying a baby. First, you're unsure how you feel. Eventually, begin to get emotionally attached to the idea of being a mommy. So, you actually find yourself actually excited to start a family. While carrying your child, you think of the name boy and girl. They all look alike. And all the things you're going to do with the child once they're born, buy toys, clothes, yada yada, in the future baby making sure they have a perfect setup when you enter the world. 9 months later, you give birth to a healthy baby. You're in rapture for the next few weeks. Everything is perfect. You're in heaven. You're a faithful lover and you're newborn. A few weeks later, you get a call, find out the DNA test. You're not actually the child's mother. The only thing, not only that, your lover knew the entire time. He knowingly pranked you. You were actually the surrogate. All right, the baby is his and another woman, and who is seen behind your back. But it wasn't actually your egg. He figured you never find out, so it didn't matter. So if he told you the truth, not only since you already started taking care of the child, you continue to take care of the child, even though it's not yours. Not only that, one day you feel the real mother wants to come and claim her biological child as her own, and she can. How do you feel being the mother in the story? Whoa! So, now, we live in the hookup culture era. So let's just say that the woman has another egg planted in her body, and the body thinks that's her egg. But really, that egg belongs to another woman. You follow me? So cheating and also notice that's every betrayed father. So this is literally the best explanation I have ever heard myself. I'm shocked to even read this online. It is literally the equivalent of a husband having another wife on the side and sneaking her eggs into a woman's body and impregnating her, and to her being pregnant with another woman's child. It is not the child's fault, but it's a big betrayal right here. You see this? So, a lot of women say, you know what? You know what? I'm a feminist. I like this hookup culture. I can sleep around, be like a man. I can do all the things a man can do, right? Mm-hmm. So, what if you slip up, you betrayed your person you're supposed to be in love with, or you're supposed to be with? Either you're in a relationship with that person, or you just tie the knot. You follow me right here? Are you following me? Saying then, and then, and also take note. This happens darn near all the time. I have to agree the betrayal is far too great. And this here is Angel West. I don't know if that's a male or a female. I don't know. Said, I have to agree that betrayal is far too great to forgive and forget. Some men love all kids, would raise anyone's kid no problem, or questions just asked. Just like some women can mother everyone. So if you have a wonderful man like that, you'll be okay. However, men will only feel bonded to their own bio kids, so they won't accept any others. If you're with that guy, take your kids and move on. He won't be a good dad. Most men won't accept that betrayal, especially if exposed by DNA testing. Good luck. So someone else said, perfect analogy. So not only this is betrayal, isn't that the truth? I can't stand a liar. So, all right. Now, we're going to go ahead to the story right here. This is why some men decided not to marry. And they decided to get a DNA test. Some men actually decided to step up and play the fatherly role. All right. And here's the kicker to this, okay? Now, Anonymous says, I'm going to tell you a tale about my stepdaughter, Sue, who did something I think is unforgivable. When she was 19 years old, she worked at a retail store with a married man named Rick. She was dating a man named Mike. This was during her first year of college. She cheated on Mike with Rick and got pregnant. Her and Rick made the decision not to break up Rick's marriage, so she told Mike it was his child. She lied. Between the two, Mike was better catch financially, as he had a superior job and owned a nice home. So Mike, being an honorable man, did the right thing and married her, loved the child, and loved Sue with all his heart. She, on the other hand, always held a candle for Rick. After 6 years of marriage, she began a second affair with Rick and asked Mike for a divorce. By this time, she had named all of her poor Mike's on all of poor Mike's assets, and George got half his house. And then her and Rick moved in together. She got $1,000 a month in child support for a 6-year-old junior. Her and Rick lived high on the hog. They ate out 3 nights a week, went on vacation. They owned brand new cars. She had a good job. Rick, not so much. And then after 6 years, she got a new job. It required her to move across the country. She was about to move away, continue taking Mike's $1,000 a month with her. Well, her best girlfriend had a heart and felt bad for the poor guy who drove an old beat-up rusty car, clearly not living as high as Sue and Rick. She went and spilled the beans to Mike and told him that 12-year-old not his, it was Rick's. So Mike took a paternity test and proved that his friend's words true. He went to court, got child support discontinued. He still loved Sue, but never outed her or shamed her. Everyone thinks the child is his. Rick is a stepfather. He is still in the child's life if nothing changed. He loves the child as if it was her own. He never brought up 6 years of child support paid after divorce. The child was not his. $72,000 she and Rick took from him. Good man, too good. So, but Grandpa and Grandma were not happy with what transpired, so they were going to make sure justice prevails in this situation. So, they modified their will to state that when Sue receives her piece of the estate, she must pay Mike $72,000 top of her money, even if it means she gets zero. The ironic part is, she doesn't realize they know about the true paternity of their grandchild. Sue thinks it's all under wraps. Well, it won't be on that day. So let's go ahead and see what the comments. Let's go see what the comments say right here. Now, you know, betraying and lying and doing all these things right here, lying on the paternity test, it's all fun and games. But when you get caught, you got to face the music, right? So, Palami Pan said, I cannot imagine what kind of courage it takes to speak for someone else, especially against one of your own. Kudos to the amazing grandparents and to Mike. Beautiful soul. God bless them. So, now, if you've been raised in a sense of integrity and justice, knowing you're doing the right thing gives you the courage you need to do the right thing. If I were Sue's parents, I would ensure Mike is fully compensated all of Sue's ill-gotten gains first. Leave Sue $1 so she could not contest the will. In the place that would have been the rest of her inheritance, go in the trust fund to be shared by her children, which they reach the age of 30. I would appoint Mike trustee of the fund, as he has shown to be an honorable man, while Rick and Sue are demonstrably dishonest. So Rick and Sue needs a lesson. A simple handwritten codicil to the will, duly attested by 2 witnesses, should suffice. State law's difference. I would let the will state for leaving Sue only $1. Not only does make contesting will more difficult, as being of an unsound mind, being unduly influenced won't hold water. But Sue may have second thoughts about contesting if her previous behavior is soon become public knowledge in a matter of court record. Her children soon will come to know what kind of fraud she is. So, So Yasmin right here put in August 24th. I want to understand why leave her $1 to prevent her from contesting the will. Why would she contest the will? Is this the case if she were left nothing? So leaving her just $1 prevent her from contesting will. They would compensate Mike with a bigger amount. So Theo Watts responded, thank you for your point. I'm giving you credit. If someone has left nothing and they take it to court, they say they've been forgotten. They're left at $1. It proves that they have not been forgotten. So, from what I understand, I've read a lot. Once you're paying child support, it's always impossible to stop. Depends on what state you're in. There's some state you got 5-year grace period to prove you are not the father to have the child support order stopped. And pray to God that you have a judge that will take a good hard look at this. All right? If he's married after she was pregnant and not legally presumptive father, he would volunteered. So, anyways, he volunteered, probably could have brought a civil fraud suit against his ex. Threat of that might have been through to convince her not to pursue the matter. So Sheila Stover mentioned, in some states, once a man's name's on that birth certificate, the child is his responsibility until 18 years of age. So somebody else, Ron Timpson said, so anyways, there's a lot of reason for divorce right here, okay? Now, a marriage is a contract. You see? Did you know that? In the Puritan times, a man could sue for dissolution of marriage if he discovered his wife used cosmetic enhanced her appearance, but failed to inform him about it. Now we're talking about the state of Ohio. A single mom has sole custody no matter whose name is on the birth certificate, unless the father goes to court and is granted parental rights or visitation. You see, the family courts are rigged. He's only required to pay support if the mother files for it. My daughter is in a situation now with my granddaughter, has never filed for support since they split with her ex, is planning to get her child's last name legally changed. She will have to notify her ex, but they don't know his current address, so notice in some obscure legal publication will suffice. She will, of course, tell her daughter about her father when she gets older, and she's now about 3. She is growing up thinking of my daughter's current boyfriend as her daddy. The son has full custody of her as a brother. So we're going to talk about Texas. Now, the Texans that are living in the state, the mother's husband is the child's father. DNA is notwithstanding. You see that right there? Or at least it was several years ago. So here in Texas, it's pretty much anti-men. And there always have been, John, and there's a lot of good dads out there ain't never seen their kids. So now they took anti-men in today's context, both partners are able to support themselves. When men wielded financial power, the law was only protection a woman had. In Victorian times, all immovable property a woman had because of her husband's by right in marriage dissolution, he got to keep it. Mortality rate in childbirth with wealthy women was many times higher than it was for average poor country girl whose capital was her liability and to hard manual work. All right. So, anyways, NISI doesn't become absolute for 6 months. Supposedly it was protect the woman. She was pregnant, so the child was being born in wedlock. With a paternity claim by the husband registered by such rights are insured. Often it was used to punish the wife. He was pregnant by her lover and filed for divorce and claimed registered paternity mean guaranteed custody of the child. Maybe the laws need to change. I don't know. Since man owned all the property immediately upon marriage, he has to provide maintenance for a divorced wife until she remarried or died. A lot of gentlemen deleted themselves in distress over not receiving this allowance, not being able to afford a lawyer, having to try to keep up the appearance. And, of course, I do agree with this. Family matrimonial law definitely needs overhaul. Maybe it's time to make cohabitation and childbearing and child rearing limited term contract relationships. I agree with this. I agree with this. So, now, um, okay, not in Kansas, okay? The state of Kansas. I receive no assistance in collecting child support. My kids are a low priority because they never needed or applied for government assistance. My daughter's moving to the grandparents' house to care for her before she passed away. My ex applied for assistance. Now I'm being pursued for child support. I am more than upset considering their father is $1,000 in arrears. So I do agree that this needs to be overhauled, okay? And anyways, this is very interesting. Now we're learning some different things on here, and it's now supposedly in Roman times. That's when the Roman Empire was at its peak. The husband's always the father of his wife's children, even if the child was clearly conceived and born whilst the husband's away. Stable families were considered more important than infidelity. Probably no one expected the husband to be faithful either, after war, etc. So in Roman times, if you caught a man having bedroom fun with your wife, you'd probably kill him and get away with it. And in the past, people in society didn't take kindly to men who had bedroom fun with another man's wife. Only in the past 50 years it become acceptable, and even Texas had a law you could kill. Okay, you could delete the man and claim temporary insanity. Alrighty. So I just want to go ahead and clear things up here. And paternity test is only needed in event if a person is unfaithful due to many circumstances. Okay. Now, should I get a paternity test? Anyways, so Anyways, to the women out there that are watching this video, thank you very much. Thank you for letting common sense rule. So, yes, I would get a paternity test. This way, got all these gossip girls running around spreading little lies and a little gossip and make it worse, to make things worse, okay? They could destroy your marriage. So if you know beyond a shadow of the doubt that your husband is the father, go get a DNA test. And if it's proven that your husband is the father, you got something to show your husband, and you got a man on your side. Then you can get to cut the gossip girls out of your life. Let me tell you something. When girls get together, they're always jealous of the other female. Always, always, always jealous. Always. They're always in competition with each other. Remember this. Short answer is almost certainly yes, regardless of what odds maybe, regardless of any potential awkwardness or embarrassment. It's only ethical and moral to make sure the right guy is recognized as the child's legal father. One guy might be more attractive father figure and the other might be horrible. But it's only just right for the guy to be recognized as a bio dad from the start. Avoiding that is unethical. At least there is paternity testing and disclosure straight off. There's no question who the bio dad is. Everyone knows their respective rights and responsibilities. The child can develop a relationship based on, but not on lies, but true understanding of correct facts. And BDP said it would be foolish to blindly trust some garden tool to assume responsibility for a kid 18 years. It amazes me that there are men out there who don't know with 100% certainty that the kid is theirs. So we're going to see the comments. While I agree that especially unmarried men should require paternity tests, I dispute the assumption a mother is some garden tool. The man's apparent thought unprotected bedroom fun with her just fine. What does that make him? A John? So, no, you shouldn't. If you only have to really believe otherwise, my garden tool, as you call her, is my wife for 35 years. Have two beautiful daughters, 5 wonderful grandkids. No need for a paternity test. All right. So, I'm at the now. I do agree with Renee Young right here on October the 4th. I'm at the point where I think it should be regular lab tests done upon birth. Right on. So, I've already seen this. We already talked about it, okay? Now, so, what an awful position you're in. I'm sorry. So, now, this comes from a female, okay? What an awful position you're in. I'm sorry. What do you want to do? What does she want to do? You both want to stay together and try to work through infidelity? So, yes, when two people tie a knot together, okay, they're agreeing to be monogamous. Sometimes they fail to realize they're in a honeymoon phase. And the honeymoon phase can actually wear off and reality will set in. Then when they know they married each other, and then they go do their own thing without realizing the consequence of their own actions. Then it doesn't matter the baby biologically yours. It's your decision to stay with a mother based on a paternity outcome. Do you want this child to be the child's father? Are you at a place in your life where you can open to forgiving this? Is she willing to do the work that's required to re-earn your trust? If she can't, won't do this work, then it probably won't work out. So we're going to go ahead and so was she honest with you about it? Was it a one-time mistake? Is there a history of betrayal? All these questions need to be explored, ideally in therapy. Okay? First and foremost, get a paternity test. She feels very strongly for this. It may feel different as the result in this one major variable in the list of factors in the situation you can find out for sure. I can give you insight of two of my friends, how similar situations played out for them, how the baby's in college, and have a gift of hindsight. So, we're going to call them Jack and Jane. Jane was 23. Jack, her boyfriend, was not quite a year. He was 21. She told him she was pregnant and may not be his baby. He married her anyway, said, no matter what, that's my child for the rest of my life. They had a good relationship, but I didn't think they were serious when they should get married. But they did. They were actually happy together. He ended up cheating on her 4 years. One kid later, one drunk night was a mistake. He felt terrible about it, confessed right away. I think he's just too young when he got married. Anyways, they tried for 2 years with therapy. She couldn't get over it, and she couldn't do the work necessary to rebuild his trust. They divorced. They both were married and are good friends. He and she publicly compliment and express gratitude for each other in front of the kids. This is the ideal post-divorce relationship I have ever seen. Not common. Definitely worth the effort if you can make it work, though. So, okay. The child has a father that loves her, is a girl. It's been her father her whole life in a stable, present way, not changed. So that is the important takeaway here. Also, takeaway, stuff happens. We do make the best decision, have the noblest of intentions. That's why a decision to be or not to be the father needs to be at center. Once decided, there's no, it is the unchanging variable. After the divorce, Jack remained her father. She is definitely the other guy's biological child, who is a nice guy but kind of a bum, and knows she is his, and asked Jane about her maybe 5 times over 20 years. Jack made a commitment to be your dad right from the start, no matter what. Not saying you'd be expected to do this, but it's an appealing option for you. Do you want to be with your girlfriend and the baby regardless if it's conditional for you? Be honest with yourself. That's not a wrong answer. While this worked for them, I highly recommend getting a paternity test because it can bite you in the rear end later. Legally, your situation changes with the norm. So, alrighty. If you decide to stay with knowing what takes some time to work together, rebuild what's broken. Let's be clear. Most of this is hard to fix. She must be willing to do the work of building trust. You must commit to the work of forgiveness. No, I'm staying, but I will drag the torture out for both of us indefinitely. Whoa. Best any of us have to do is make the best decision of current knowledge. This is a huge decision, drowning in intense emotion. Terrible situation for anyone trying to make a good choice. You should definitely seek out an outside professional help with this. So, So we often look back at a major decision like this with clarity of hindsight and judge them having a future knowledge we cannot possibly factor in now. Truth is, there is no way to know what is the right thing to do here. You should have a better idea of what could be better than anyone. It's easy for me to sit down from afar with no detail about your relationship, say, hey, everything you do here must be the best thing for the child. Well, that's what the judge will say, all right? The only you can know that maybe for all I know, the relationship frequently plagued with drama or even abuse, and you are lucky to be free of it. Or you both love and care for each other is that healthy relationship, far minus one mistake. Another reason involved a professional in this decision. That's a therapist. Okay, I guess the first thing is figure out what you want this to look like. Say 5 years, mom stay or go. Does paternity result change this? Fatherhood? What do you want it to look like? Then start sorting out facts. What you know, what you don't want to know is cannot possibly predict based on your decision of what you know for sure your best guess at. Unknown variables would most likely push you in the direction of what you want ideally at the end result would look like. Many of the variables around this decision may not be your control. Deciding what you want in the big picture to look like help you guide. Little decision face gets you there. Communicate this picture with your girlfriend soon. And when you're ready, you can work on ideal future if that's the desire. Alrighty? If the baby's yours, even though you don't want to stay with the mom as a lifetime partner, this child will be ideally, at least biologically yours. You can be a father of a child with a stable way apart from the mom. So basically what this is saying is, many people push that narrative or a simping saying upon everyone saying, man up. That child's not yours, but you need to man up. Well, let me enlighten you on this, okay? It's not always going to work. So, maybe you don't want to be part of either of their lives other than child support. Maybe you both decide you're not ready to parent a child and give the baby up for adoption. I don't know what your situation is. So, some cases that actually has happened. All right? Some cases that actually has happened. If you are the biofather, don't want to be in the baby's life, but not your girlfriend, keep it in the mind the mother will be part of your life and the third wheel in every relationship you have, vice versa, going forward the rest of your life. If you choose to be in this baby's life, it's best for everyone in the relationship, at least be civil. It's like to take a lot of effort to get it there. Sometimes it's not possible. I know several couples manage a good co-parenting relationship. So, if the baby is, okay, now, if the baby's not yours, or do you want it to be? No. It sounds pretty straightforward. It's over. Yes. Maybe you have option to choose to be the father. This goes back to what does your girlfriend want? So you see, the mother calls the shots here. That's why men don't want to get married this day and age. Because of this. And I do agree, the family laws needs some serious overhauling. I agree. It needs some serious overhaul. Okay? And anyways. Now, at the most widespread cheating method is switching oral swabs and paternity tests. Each test participant is allocated an envelope with a swab inside. Paternity fraud is highly discouraged conduct that a person should refrain from doing because it can result in very serious legal issues. It can also have an effect on how a child is brought up through adulthood. Are you ready for discussion? Which may have a negative impact on their life in ways that go beyond their childhood. Wow. Paternity fraud is generally happens when a man is asked to sign an affidavit of paternity for a child whom he shares no biological connection. Presumably, in such cases, it is the mother who urges the man to sign the affidavit or birth certificate form. If you do not believe you have a case of fraud, if you believe you are not the father, you have been ordered to pay support, you should click my bio for contact information. Handles many domestic litigation issues. Okay, well, computer forensics right here at okay. Wow, includes paternity. It's often damaging for the child who is deceived by their mother to believe someone is their father who is not. It can open up. It can open up someone to claims both civil and criminal courts, depending on the circumstance. It might be that the criminal courts treat it seriously. Amen. Amen. Amen to this. It should be criminal to do that. And yeah, sound off below in the comments. I want to hear your side, okay? I want to hear your side of this, okay? I want to hear what you got to say. And I just want to know what you think about this topic. And anyways, so now it's very important to know this, okay? Now in India, this is in India, all right? This is in India. I'm going to read this out to you, okay? Are there any laws regarding paternity fraud in India? Yes, on paper. Indian courts see the husband as father whether he likes it or not. While wives adultery is a ground to get a divorce, proven that the Indian court is more difficult than climbing Mount Everest without an oxygen tank. Indian law is strongly pro-wife since it's all about saving the woman's reputation. Never mind, she may have committed adultery or had another man's child, so the court ordered a DNA test in rare cases if the husband contests paternity. It's very difficult a long road to get that court order. I know a case where a husband hid a camera in his home that clearly showed his wife was having bedroom fun with her lover. The court threw out the evidence because her lawyers admitted that her husband was forced to act in a bad film under threat of assault. So it's virtually impossible to prove an adultery in the India court. Did you know that? So someone else said, true, Indian legal system is the worst gynocentric torture hole any man could put himself into. Your best avoid marriage like plague in India. So anybody watching my channel, and to the people in India, or the judges in India, pretty soon there's going to be a revolution where there's going to be some drastic changes in the family law. I see this coming up, okay? I see it coming up. Now, and of course, You need to get in touch with a lawyer from your local area. Paternity fraud is a big problem with a lifelong consequences, morally, legally, and financially. You have a closed amount of time to contest paternity depending on your state or country. Get a lawyer to contest paternity in court. Pending a court-approved DNA test is the only way to be sure. Feminism and feminists will object to this. It only benefits them. It's time for change. It's time for change, okay? Alright? So, until next time, anybody tells you you don't need a paternity test, then you need to get one. Until next time, you take care of yourself, you take care of others, and peace.